in this example, the green one that I've made, the smaller one, I've used only 2 buttons instead of 3, like the brown one. So what is the tricky thing is that we must start from the long side. So you have to chain up all this way, and this is the length of the chain that I will start now. You can make it in any size you like. I'm making a knot. And I will chain up. I will chain up 40, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, I have made 40 chains now. I will make it a small one just for the tutorial, but you can make it, as I said before, in any size you like. So what is now, we have to make the decision. For 40 chains we will have a small bag like this. This could be the bottom of the bag, and from the start point up to here it will be the flap. So we will fold it. Here we have the bottom, and here there is the flap, and here we have the smallest part of the flap, sorry. So our flap is going to goes diagonal like this way. So we have to remember, in order to avoid mistakes, that the start point of the chain, it will be straight. This point here that we have just finished up the 40 chains, it will be the start point of the flap, and here that we are going to make increases in each row. This is the first row, so I'm making 40 single crochets. I'm inserting the hook in the stitch, pull up a loop and pull all 2 loops, and this is a single crochet. So I'm gonna continue until I will reach the end, and I will meet you there. I am almost at the end of the row number 1, and I will continue with single crochets up to the end. This is the last chain. I'm working a single crochet, chain 1 and turn. And now we are going to work only the back loops. As you can see, we have 2 loops here. It's like a V. If you can see it, it's like a V. So we are going to work back loops only. You can see it clearly now. So here we have the 2 loops. We are working only in the back loop. So here, when we have the strands, when we have just started making up the chains, when we first began our project, here we will have straight edge, so there will no any increase on this side. We will continue working only in the back loops. It's my first DIY tutorial, so have patience until I will be expert. Okay, I hope so that one day I will be an expert, but anyway, today you have to be patient with me. So here is the back loop. We are working two strands today. So continue right up until the end of row, until we will reach the end of row 2, and I will meet you there. I'm almost at the end of the row 2, and here it's the tricky point where we will making our increase, so we'll have the diagonal flap. This is our last loop. We work in the same way on only back loops. We are making a single crochet, finding the first loop of the previous row and work also on that loop, and then we are making a chain 1 and turn. And work also on back loop in the next row. See, it is started to showing up. This is the one way. The other way, you can make an increase also by working the first loop of the row 3. So working the first back loop of row 3, a single crochet, and then continue until the end of the row, normal back loops, single crochet. So here we will have a more sharp and diagonal shape of the flap. We will continue back loops, back loops, single crochet at the end of this row. I will meet you at the end of this row. Here we are again at the end of row 3, and I have only 3 stitches remaining, so let's make the single crochet into these 3 last stitches. I'm working also the last loop from the previous row, then chain 1 and turn, and working normal back loops. Here we have the straight edge. We will continue making single crochet, working only the back loops of the stitch, and I will meet you on the other end. That could be here, that we have the diagonal edge of the flap. And here we are at the end of excuse me of row 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the increase row, so I'm working the last 3 stitches. I'm working also the last back loops of the turning single crochet. This is the tricky point. I'm just pulling up a little bit the last 2 hidden loops, making a single crochet, chain 1, turn, and working the back loop of the first stitch. And then we continue working on the back loops of each stitch across, and this is row 5. Continue working the back loops of the chain. You can see it now clearly, and this is how I make the flap. Looks like this. It is not a straight line. So what I've done in this green one, in this project, I was making an increasing rows for 2, 4, 6, 7, for 7 rows. Afterwards, I've just stopped making increases. That was just making straight rows, like on the other side, straight rows. So you can give it a not so usual line. It is unusual shape. It is not a straight one, it is not a diagonal up to the end. You can make it a diagonal shape up to the end, so we'll have a sharp line here, or you can make it as I did. So I will continue on row 5, normal back loop, single crochet, and I will meet you at the end of row 5. Here we are at the end of the row 6. Here is the last loop. Here is the hidden loop. Chain 1 and turn. Back loops. Just a reminder, on this straight line, that could be the inside of the bag. We have a straight line, so don't forget that we are not making any increase on this step. So I'm not working the back loop of the first stitch, but in the next one. Otherwise you will have an increase and not a straight line. We are almost at the end of the row. We have only 3 stitches remaining. Here is the hidden loop. Pull it up, make a single crochet, chain 1 and turn, and work the back loop of the next stitch as a single crochet. We continue until we will reach the end of row. Here we have 2, 4, 6. We are almost on row number 8. This is the end of row 8. Working the last 3 stitches. Working the hidden loop, pull it up, make a single crochet, chain 1, turn, chain 1 in the same stitch, single crochet in the same stitch, single crochet in the back loop of the next stitch. We are working only on the back loops of each stitch. Will we continue in the same way until the end of this row. This is the end of our row. Single crochet the last 3 stitches and the hidden loop, chain 1 and turn, single crochet in the back loop of next stitch, working up to the end. As I was starting showing how to slip stitch the back, and I have run out of power of my camera, so I don't know what is already recorded, but anyway, I will explain you again. We have these 2 loops here. I am taking the outside of this side and the inside loop of the other side, pulling through the loop both of sides and into the loop that I am having on my hook, and that is a procedure of slip stitching the back. I think it's a quicker method instead of sewing with the needle. I need to apologize because this is my first video that I'm making on my own. Usually my husband is recording my tutorials, but I just wanted to try one. How to do it on my own. And it's not so easy as I thought, so you have my excuses. As I said, this is a requested tutorial, and I hope that my friend that asked about this tutorial will be happy. So I'm cutting the yarn, starting making the same thing on the other side. Make sure that you are going to slip stitch the same way like before, yes, but not only this, that the inside of the back is straight. It will not be like this, or it will not be, must not be like that. You need to be sure before you start slip stitching that you have a straight line here. So I'm making again a knot, inserting my hook and starting slip stitching from this end. excuse me. I have two notes in the same space, so it was a little bit hard for me to see. So we are slip stitching our back. I will slip stitch the side with the same way until the end, and I will meet you at the end. I will make a closer shot. So here we are, we have this loop and the loop on the other side. Pull the yarn through two loops. Actually we have three loops. We have the one on our hook, the one of this side, the other of the other side. So we must pull through the yarn on three loops at the same time. Okay, we're almost at the end. This is the last stitch that we need to slip stitch. I will cut the yarn. And this is our cell phone case. Now I need to sew a button here, and now I will show you how to make a small chain just to hold in place the button. So let's make the chain first. I will make a knot, and before I'm starting my chain, it will be a loop. It will be a loop to hold the button in place. So we first decide where we want to put our button. So I think in the middle it could be nice. So I'm just starting from this point, making my loop. I'm gonna pull through my yarn, through the loop and through the knot that I have just, sorry. And I'm starting chaining. I will chain 6 and I will see whether it could be okay. 4, 5, 6. I will make a hole big enough to hold the button. So I will chain up 2 more, total 8 chains. I will just slip stitch here. Hold it in place and see whether my button goes in and coming out without need to force it. And 8 are just fine. 8 chains are just fine. So we're making a knot and give it a tug. So we are ready now to sew our button here. You know how to do it. I will make it. I will meet you there. I have put my button in place. Check up whether my chain loop fits and looks nice. I think it is. And now I will show you how I hide all these strands. I am not using needle, tapestry needle. I'm using my hook, and I'm just making a zigzag with between my loops, making a zigzag with my hook and my strands. And this is the way I'm hiding all these yarns, pieces of yarns. I'm trying to, I think it's fine this way. For me it's just fine. If you want to use your needle, go ahead and do it. I just prefer making following the easiest way. This is the way I'm hiding my yarns. I will do it on these 5 remaining points, and I will show you the finished. And this is our finished product.